to the Hellmouth. Hope everybody's 5x5. This is Major Slayage, Ket Arik, Rewatch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My name is Eric, and to my right, your left, my impressive, incredible, intelligent, inspiring, immensely talented wife and co-host. You know her as half the powerhouse duo that is Kim and Ket. Stay alive, maybe. Give it up for the incomparable Ketryn Porter.
Wow. I was worried about the eyes. Not as, I mean, once we get to the end of the alphabet, good luck.
It's gonna be nuts, but
it's gonna be tough.
As they say in the old country, the eyes have it. How you doing? We're here to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer season
Your Chicago
2.
just came out. How you doing?
Overbite there. We are here to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 2, episode 9. What's my line? Part 1. What'd you think of this one?
It was a little bit of a roller coaster for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't Inca Mummy Girl. You know what's so
Right.
Okay, you know what's so funny?
What's that?
For those of you that are also KK Sam fans, Kim and Ket Stay Alive maybe fans, very early on in our recording of the show, we did a movie that was the first time we had done like a legitimately terrible movie. It's the movie The Open House. We have now used that movie as a barometer for 7 years. Inca Mummy Girl is our open house.
I think you're right. I think it's unquestionably the worst episode we've watched so far.
Yeah. So it's not that one.
It's funny you described that as a roller coaster to me, which implies ups and downs. I didn't feel like this had any ups. This felt very flat for me.
Okay.
This lacked a lot of zing.
Yeah.
I felt like none of the quips landed. Even Spike was kind of boring, and it just
honestly, you know what? You're convincing me. I agree. Yeah.
One of the things that I noted about this episode was the shows like Gilmore Girls or The West Wing, they have too much dialogue and they have to cram it in to make it fit. So everyone talks really fast.
The Germans wore gray, you wore blue. Casablanca. Casablanca's such a good movie. Casablanca, the White House, Bush. Why don't I drive a hybrid car? I should really drive a hybrid. Bicycle, unicycle, unitard, hockey puck, rattlesnake, monkey, underpants.
This episode felt like they only had about 33 minutes worth of script. And so everyone took like a 5 Mississippi before they spoke.
What's up?
Nothing? Why'd you come in through the window?
Habit.
And I was just like,
yeah, it's almost like, okay, so they had this is part 1, obviously. So there's a part 2 coming. It's almost as if, so like two episodes of the show are about 90 minutes. It's almost like they had, like, based on your theory, 60 minutes of content.
And they're like, we can either cut this down and put the best stuff in one episode, which I argue they should have done.
Yeah.
We'll get into part 2 next week. Or they said, we can pad this.
Yeah.
I didn't think we're going to get into all of this. I have a lot of thoughts off the top. I didn't think the career fair thing worked.
Yeah. So let's just jump in because we start there. So let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if I had any other thoughts I wanted to get out at the top, but no, yeah, just kind of a episode for me.
Yeah. I agree. Hi, Ethel.
Before we jump into the episode, we do want to tell you a couple things. First of all, thanks for watching. And we ask for your help. If you like this, please click like.
Help!
Please subscribe. And rather than, I've decided I'm going to ask for specific comments, and we'll get to that later in the show. But leaving a comment at all is helpful. But we're going to engage you when we do our yearbook superlatives. We're going to ask you guys to name yours as well.
Yeah.
So this actually came about because your parents watched the episode, and so they always give us like a little debrief. What's funny is...
so this idea comes directly from the famous Peg and Skip.
Yes. But the way they go about it tickles me because they treat it like we picked the wrong line.
They do.
They go like, why didn't you pick this one? This was the best line, and you guys didn't pick the best line. So now we're inviting them and everyone else to let us know,
to tell us where we were wrong.
Yeah, tell us what we should have picked for best line, best move, best dressed, all of it. We also have a Patreon. If you can't get enough of us, you want a little extra. We do a watch along of every episode. We watch the episode before we record, and for me, at least these first few seasons, I haven't seen these in probably 10 years. So I'm basically watching them for the first time. We also do a deep dive minisode called Trivia Crypt, where we talk about behind the scenes, fun facts, and anything we discuss that we don't know the answer to, we look it up and we share it there. So again, $5 a month gets you everything we offer. And then we also do sometimes watch alongs of movies and stuff live that you can kind of chime in and chat with us while we do it. It's a lot of fun. Before we jump into the episode, do you have a spell you want to do for us?
I do. At one point, I'm going to ask you to hold the microphone to my mouth so that because I need both hands.
Okay.
But what we're going to do, I'm going to just pull a tarot card today because Drusilla was using a lot of tarot in this episode. Some cards appeared to be from the traditional Rider-Waite deck that I was able to identify. Others appeared to be from some mystery vampire deck, and I was not able to make heads or tails of what. Now, obviously, not every deck, looks the same. The art is different, but I could not make heads or tails of some of the cards she was using.
Have like the 10 of tentacles or whatever it is.
10 of tentacles. Right. No 10 of tentacles.
So like it just was a picture.
Yeah.
These were her vocab cards.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to pull a tarot card for all of us today. For those of you that are very familiar with tarot or new to tarot, I pull things a little bit differently. I have not memorized the meanings of the cards, and I don't plan to, because the way that I have chosen to let the cards kind of inform me is I have made my own notes about every single card using various interpretations of the card in bullet point form. So what I do is so that I don't get married to one meaning of the card that I have memorized, I pull a card and I look at my notes and I see what leaps off the page for that particular reading. And that is the way that I have found tarot works best for me. And I just wanted to sort of share that tactic because I'm sure other people do it that way. I haven't seen it that way. So I'm just sharing. So you don't have to feel pressure to memorize 78 cards. I don't think it's necessary.
And as someone who has had tarot cards pulled by Ketryn before, that is a really fun way to do it because it does leave some room for exploration as opposed to like, here's the card and here's what it means. And now you're fucked. Like,
yeah. And I've even been able to say like, hand you my notes and say, well, what jumps off the page to you? So
more interactive.
Exactly. So we're going to pull a card.
Excellent.
This is one of my favorite decks. It's called Darkwood Tarot. So we're just going to pull one card. 10 of Tentacles. 10 of Tentacles. 10 of Pentacles. Pentacles are always about abundance, so it always has something to do with like material abundance or stability on Earth. Pentacles also represent the Earth element. So this is about financial success, stability for you and others. It is considered the trust fund baby of the tarot. So it's telling you that everything is going to be okay. I feel like this was maybe a card for myself because money is hard and terrifying. So it's about carrying on a familial or generational mindset that you're going to be okay. It's focused on acquiring the type of wealth that supports not just you, but your community and your family, which I think is such an important message for today where we have an epidemic of people hoarding their wealth either out of greed or fear, and community outreach and community abundance is how we can all feel stable. And it's also about diving into how your ancestors have influenced or affected your behavioral patterns. Sorry, dude. So yeah, if that resonates with you, it's going to be okay. I know that money is tight. Abundance feels really far away. But the pendulum always swings back.
Do you want to get into this episode?
I guess.
Might as well.
Yeah, here we go. So we start with the career fair, which I will let you talk about. I had similar issues with it. My issues came from the place of an educator. Where I find this career fair really detrimental to the fragile minds of adolescents, where it's like, let me have you answer these really black and white multiple choice questions to determine who we think you're going to be and what job you're like qualified for as a 15. Like, this is crazy. And I can just really see how this would hurt kids. Like if you didn't get the answer you wanted,
Right.
this would hurt you and
It's
it
like
would
when we
stick
pulled,
with you.
we did a sorting hat on the website for your
Yes.
little cousin
Yes.
who found out they were a Slytherin. That was not the answer
Yeah.
they wanted.
Ironically, they have now self-identified as a Slytherin,
Oh, yeah, they're
which
super
I find
Slytherin
so
now.
funny. But yeah,
Including,
it was detrimental.
having snakes. But
yeah.
yeah, I you asked me during the watch along, did my school do a career fair? Not that I remember, but I also probably wouldn't have participated because I knew I wanted to do something creative. I've known since I was 5 years old what I wanted to do, and I've found ways to do variations of that throughout my life. I've been very lucky. But we had a guidance counselor who would work with you one-on-one and help you decide what you wanted to do and the best way to achieve those. Like it was all very personal. None of it was this, and certainly not
Are
a
you
week
pro or con shrubs?
Yeah, that line.
By the way,
that line's going to come up again.
By the way, pro shrub. Who's anti-shrub?
Yeah,
that's insane.
It's not a hot take.
Yeah.
but no, the mechanics of this were hella weird in that it appeared to last all week.
Yeah.
It was just people from different industries acting as barkers, hanging out in the hallway between classes, trying to rope students in, which also weird. Like, why do you need them if they took the test? Like,
right.
And also, like, so you go stand at a none of it made any sense. I feel like it was written by aliens. I liked the kernel of the idea of what is fate? What is your destiny? Buffy's is locked in. She doesn't get to explore this like everyone else. Also, the idea that they put your results on a public board.
That's crazy.
Like who got cast in the play.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you find out you're going to be the janitor. And not that anything wrong with janitor, but if that's not your dream, and now the whole school knows you're making your business everyone's business felt
it's a mess.
Crazy.
Actually, okay, I do have to take one little tangent because I'm having a flashback right now to this almost exact scenario that happened to me that I have fully blocked out, and you are going to. It's really ironic. Okay, so I
think I know this story.
When I was in 10th grade, me and a girlfriend from high school were bopping around downtown Towson, and we had just gone to the movies or something, and there was a psychic on the street.
Is this some kind of Cersei Lannister thing?
A little bit. Ironically, this psychic was reading tarot cards. This was before I had come out as a witch or understood that was something that I could identify as. I had no concept of tarot at all whatsoever. I had very large aspirations of being an actress. It is the only thing I saw myself doing. I still hold on to that. I went into this tarot read and she pulled a spread. And the gist of what she said to me was, you are going to be a teacher. And I said, what about acting? And she said, oh, no, you'll never be an actress. And I was devastated. Now, what's funny is I am an educator and have not had my acting career get off the ground, but it is wild what that did to me. And I think it made me really reluctant to lean into my talents as an educator and a teacher because I felt like I was
robbing yourself in a way,
robbing myself in some way. So I have a very personal issue with doing this to adolescent kids because it does stick with them, and it's really demoralizing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story that I just remembered that story.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's there's gonna be a lot to unpack over the coming days, I imagine.
It is.
I have a career day type story as well. So when I was a senior in high school, I already knew I was going to Florida State. I'd already been accepted on a National Merit Scholarship, going to study theater. Like my path was set. But I got aggressive phone calls from an Army recruiter.
Really?
Named Sergeant Lunow. I still remember his name, who just wanted me to consider joining the military. That was his job. And I'm sure he got a bonus for every person he got to sign up. But he called me. I had 6-7 conversations with this guy.
Really?
And I told him, well, I want to tell stories. I want to get into theater and the arts. I want to be a filmmaker. And he was like, well, have you ever thought about making films for the United States Army? And I was like, Well, this feels like I instantly felt like this feels like a trick. Like,
yeah. You
like-
still got to go through basic training.
yeah, what if I told him I wanted to be a pimp?
Yeah.
Would he go, hey, have you thought about being a pimp for the, like,
Right.
whatever I said, he was going to say we could do that in the army,
Yeah.
serving your country.
Yeah.
And then in college, so told him thanks, but no thanks. And, let him down easy. It got to college, worked at a zoo in Panama City, Florida, the summer after my freshman year, and met a woman there who her son had similar conversations and said he wanted to be a mechanic or he wanted to like work on vehicles. And they said, okay, when you, I can't verify this story happened. This is a story as it was told to me. When you fill out your paperwork, you're going to write this code, whatever it was. He filled out his paperwork, wrote that code as his level of interest, and he was put in infantry. So I'm like, if I had taken Sergeant Lunau up on his recruitment offer and he says, hey, when you tell him you want to work, in films and put this code, jump cut to me holding an M16 crying.
Yeah. And also, I mean this as a compliment, and I know that you'll know how to take it as such. You should not and would not do well in the military. Like that should not, like you are not the person that should be in the military.
I don't do well with arbitrary exercise of authority. I don't go, you don't get my respect just because you have this job or this title. I need to respond to something of the person to give my respect, and that's not really how the military
would not
works.
have done well.
So
yeah. Okay. So
wow, we're doing this like we did with Nightmares, where we're talking about anything but the episode.
Well, yeah, and it's also apparently our therapy session, where we're unpacking things from our youth. All right, the point of the career fair was so that Buffy felt locked into her destiny. That's literally the entire point of this career fair. That everyone is going to have a future. Buffy does not, because she's the chosen one. How can you have a job when you're the Slayer?
But that could have been handled in like one line or one conversation, not like this convoluted thing stretched out over the course of 2 episodes.
Right. Okay. So we found our first cut, getting us closer to having this 2-parter be 1 episode.
Right.
Okay. So let's go to Spike's lair, where Drusilla is pulling tarot. Mm-hmm. We also learned that vampires also have nerds.
You said in the watch along, like, imagine being a vampire and being stuck with like your receding hairline forever. Like you becoming a vampire doesn't instantly make you sexy. Like this guy still looks like an accountant.
Yeah. So
nothing against accountants.
Spike is feeling really panicked right now because they are trying to interpret this book that our favorite blonde vampire stole from Giles that holds the key to curing Drusilla, which like neither of us are clear about what is afflicting Drusilla. I had I understand now that this didn't make sense what I thought it was. Like, I thought they were trying to like cure her insanity, but that doesn't make any sense because she's been insane since before she was a vampire. And was a perfectly functional vampire up until recently. Yeah, so I don't understand
physically
why she's
frail and weak in some way.
Yeah,
but they never say, "Oh, she's got this disease."
Yeah,
she's got Epstein-Barr,
blood intolerant.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it's unclear. But Spike really needs to cure her.
So and Poindexter misinterprets the text.
Debase the beef canoe.
Which I think sounds like a band that would play at the Bronze.
Oh my God, it totally does. It totally does. Yeah. So at one point, Spike, in his frustration, snaps at Drew, and we see Spike sort of immediately go to her, and they fall into their sort of codependent relationship again.
I felt like this whole dynamic, though, and I said this in the watch along too, is starting to feel like the master and the little boy.
Yeah.
In that it's the same shit every time, and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm starting to grow bored of
Drusilla.
This thing.
Yes.
Like, I think she's cool, she's interesting, she's crazy, but
we've seen
I'm
it.
so sick.
Oh, that was good.
I learned it by watching you.
We go back to Nerd Vampire, and he's like, I can't interpret this. In swoops Drusilla with her tarot deck, and she says, he can't help you. Not without the key. And we're like, what key? What key?
Not Dawn.
Not Dawn. Spoilers. She puts down a card that looks vaguely Rider Waite, but again, I don't know what card it is, but it appears to have art of what looks like a cemetery mausoleum, and that somehow, sparks Spike to go, oh, maybe the key is in there. And then Drusilla says, now will you dance? And they dance because
they're weird.
They're weird. Let's go to the cemetery. Buff is in the cemetery and she comes upon a familiar mausoleum and there's a light on inside. And she goes in and she sees Nerd Vamp and he's doing something in the walls, looking for something in the walls. And Buffy exults and says, so sorry, sir. You're busy. I'll come back later. No, she comes out. She's like, I'm going to wait for him to come out, which I kind of loved. Like, she's so nonchalant about her job now, and I like that.
I think she sized him up. She's like, I can definitely take this dude. I can take
him. He's got a receding hairline.
But also, I think she wanted to see what he was up to. If she went in and interrupted him, she may not learn what he was doing.
That's fair. Yeah. So he comes out and she has a quip about vampires not being people. It wasn't that good of a quip, so I didn't write it down.
All the quips in this were mid.
They really were, but I feel like we're starting to see something. Buffy loves a pun. Buffy loves a quip. I feel like it's what keeps her engaged in her work. I used an example during the watch along and now I can't think of what it was. Like it keeps her.
Oh, you said it's like, because I telling my business, everybody.
Oh,
I chew nicotine gum. I've never been a smoker, but it's sort of my one vice. I get a little, it's good for focus. It's good for energy.
Yeah.
And so you were like, I think puns and quips are Buffy's nicotine gum.
I think so. Like it keeps her brain engaged, make sure she stays sharp.
Yeah.
But they can't all be winners, and she didn't have any winners in this episode.
No, nobody did. Xander, who has been hilarious this season, it was just a
womp,
just a fart in a car.
Yeah. She has to head home now, and she is climbing into her window, which actually Buffy
they do address it.
They do address
but
it.
It's also like, if we're trying to get this down to one episode, you don't have her do a weird thing that we don't understand and then give her dialogue explaining why she did a weird thing. She could just come in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So we've cut some more. All right. We're getting closer.
8 seconds.
Yeah. We're getting closer. So she comes in and Angel is in there. She ends up startling him.
Right.
He's kind of looking around at her stuff. I mean, he's not like looking at her underwear drawer, but like it was.
And he's
still
like
just
hugging her teddy bear.
Yeah, it's actually a pig named Mr.
Pig.
Gordo.
Mr.
Thank you very
Gordo.
much. So sorry, Mr. Gordo.
Apologies all around.
I misspecied
him.
I misspecied
Yeah.
Mr. Gordo.
And he's there to be like, hey, I'm worried about you. Something is coming. And Buffy's like, what's new? He picks up a picture of her ice skating as a little girl. And he decides to take her on a date, which I appreciated because most of what Buffy is saying is like, thank you for the warnings. Thank you for trying to help me not die. But like, you can't only come around with work stuff. Like if
Right.
we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, you have to take me on a effing date
I want
every
some
so
courting
often.
behavior.
Yes, exactly.
Court me.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, I'll do you one better. I'll rink ya. I'll skate rink ya. Get it? Because court and rink. You see what I did?
Yeah, and Ketryn's doing a thing where she's only going to give mid-level quips.
Yeah.
For this episode, just to be in the
exactly.
spirit of the
Yeah.
episode.
So he says there's a skating rink that's closed on Tuesdays. Tomorrow's Tuesday. So he's going to take her to the ice rink.
This is one of those things that clearly came up where someone learned that SMG knew how to ice skate. And like, we got to write that into the show.
Yes. It's like how my dream would be to like play a character that's a swimmer so that like my entire day of shooting is just me playing in a pool.
Just doing the thing that you love.
That would be fantastic. So if anyone wants to write a role for me where I have to like swim laps for 5 seconds in a scene, but that means that's like
Shoot
a
it all
couple
day.
hours. Yeah. So that would be great if anyone would like to do that. So I can just play in a pool all day. Let's go back to school. This scene, I'm just going to go through it quickly because again, it's career fair stuff that like isn't really paid off. They post everyone's jobs. All right. And Cordelia, they think she should be a personal shopper or a motivational speaker. I don't disagree, but again, why are we posting this stuff?
Why are we posting it? And also, like, it's It's so on the nose. Like, of course,
Yeah,
personal
of
shopper.
course.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not very creative.
It's not very deep. Xander is going to be a prison guard, and Cordelia of course, they're standing next to each other. Like,
Right.
if these
There's only two people there, and they're there at the same time, Velcroed together.
their foreplay has been going on for episodes.
I'm just like, stick it in already.
Right?
I
Yeah,
can't do
me
this
too.
much foreplay.
It's crazy. Xander's going to be a prison guard. Buffy's going to be law enforcement in some way. Duh. Giles is holding a whole bunch of books because he's trying to figure out which book the blonde vampire stole. So she peels off. Willow then asks Xander, what is my job? What did it say next to my name on the list? And he says, you weren't on the list. Mystery that has a very dumb payoff.
That really doesn't have a payoff at all. And we're gonna get into it. They do a thing.
I don't know if it pays off next episode. I can't remember. Like, I'm just like, does this come back? I mean,
unless it pays off well past, like, we did the watch along for both parts already, so that's why we can kind of talk about what we would cut. We're trying to constrain our conversation to just part one, but when we watched it, we watched both of them.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it pays off. Anyway, so let's go to the library. And I will say, Giles carrying all these books. I don't know if you're going to get this reference, but in Disney's Cinderella, there's a very cute little mouse named Gus Gus. And he's trying to carry a bunch of corn kernels, and they keep falling out as he tries to stack them up too high. And Giles reminded me of Gus Gus carrying too many corn kernels.
This was the first scene where I was really aware of, like, line and then a 3 Mississippi before the next line.
What does that mean anyway? Whole 9 yards. 9 yards of what? Now it's gonna bug me all day. Giles, you're in pace mode. What gives?
And also, everyone seemed low energy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no kind of, like, pep in anyone's step. It just felt like a different show. It felt very soap opera-y.
Yeah.
And it just was sort of like,
meh.
Yeah,
like as you say, I don't know that you would have stopped and sat down to watch
this one.
episode.
I would have sat down, watched that scene, and went, let me see if I can find a British game show to watch.
Yeah. So the point of this scene, I'm just going the point of this scene, like that tells you, is Giles being like, what book did they steal? Buffy says, I saw some vamp not doing vamp shit, but like looking for something in a mausoleum. Giles gets mad at her for not doing further research to figure out what it was that the vamp was stealing. And she's like, why don't you get someone else to do the job then? And, oh, right, you can't. And the only way you can is if I'm dead. Maybe I should be dead. Which was very teenager of her.
And I think it felt like everyone was cranky, and I understand it. Giles and Jenny are on the outs because of the whole Igon situation.
Yeah.
But that's not explicit. So he's a little off. He's burying himself in his work.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've had 2 episodes in a row with Lie to Me and Dark Age where Buffy and Giles got a lot closer, bonded, understood each other more. And here it feels like their relationship had taken a couple steps back where they're and I guess that's what
this
it is,
one
having a
doesn't.
teenager.
Yeah, this one doesn't. That doesn't bother me. I hear what you're saying. I agree. But like, having once been a teenage girl that got along with my dad one day and then was a crank ass the next. That's par for the course. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wish we could get a reason for it, because we did have such beautiful.
Guess what the reason is?
We ended the teenage girl
16.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the reason.
I
wish
narratively we ended the last 2 episodes on such beautiful moments of them bonding, and then
that's how it is. Honestly, that's the most realistic part of this entire episode for me.
I'm glad we're not having kids.
Yeah.
Even kids.
Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. Okay, I made a typo here, but I'm going to read it as I wrote it, and we can just picture it for a second. I wrote Giles comforting Drusilla in her cozy bed.
That never happened.
That didn't happen. I clearly meant to write Spike. Let's go back to the lair. He's comforting Drusilla, who's still sick or insane or both or whatever. I'm so crazy. And Nerd Vamp comes in to be like, the Slayer keeps fucking shit up. The Slayer keeps messing up your plan. And Spike throws a temper tantrum about it.
And he's got these, she's the gnat in my ear, she's the gristle in my teeth.
Yeah.
Which just, again, felt like they didn't quite get to the level of how we're used to Spike talking. Like, he is
so
a poet.
Yeah.
And he says cool things.
We were getting draft 1.
Yeah, we got
poetry.
real just kind of pedestrian Spike quips.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, I got to call in the big guns. I really had it in me that I wanted to be the one who killed Buffy myself, but Drew's getting sicker and we have a timeline. So I'm going to call in the Order of Taraka, who are bounty hunters for the demon world, basically. So we're back at school. Snyder is looking for Buffy. Xander and Willow are trying to distract him. And Snyder, once again, his lack of ability to be an effective educator is actually starting to bother me. That I'm just like, this is unrealistic. I do not understand why he hates children so much and how he got this job as a principal. He says to Xander, whatever comes out of your mouth is a meaningless waste of breath, an airborne toxic event. So once again, when Xander is an asshole, I would like everyone to just, for 1 second, remember the messaging that he is not only getting at home, but also getting at school, not just from kids who bully him, which we know there are a lot of, but from the head of the school, the principal, telling him that anything he says is meaningless. So I'm just offering a bit more slack to Xander once the fuck again.
Well, to be fair though, Xander does call him out for having tiny shoes and being a tiny person. Like, so Xander fucks with this guy too.
He is a child. He is a child. Do you know how many kids have just straight up come up to me and said, "Why does your face look like that?" They'll say whatever. They're children.
I'm glad you never told me that. I would have gone and murdered those children.
Yeah. They're children. You don't get to tell them that they're a waste of space.
Giles pointed that out too about Snyder. He says, like, you don't seem to have any like knack or affinity for this line of work. Like, this is a puzzling choice of career for you.
Truly.
If this career fair test put him on this path, I think we throw the whole thing out.
Yeah. If this is how you got the job, it's kind of like me baffling that I spent so many years in customer service and retail. Honestly, I was as ill-equipped for that as Snyder is for being a principal.
I would agree. And again, this scene, nothing really happens. We don't learn anything new. We go, oh, Xander's going to quip and Snyder's going to be a bad principal. And where is Buffy? But like nothing actually, we don't reveal any plot. It reminds me of that Trey Parker, Matt Stone thing we talked about.
And if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed. You got something pretty boring. No. It should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens.
Nothing in a previous scene causes this to happen.
Right.
Nothing that happens in this scene causes anything else to happen. It's just, let's go look at this for a second. And it's just like, this thing just has, like, it can't get up to cruising speed.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it's just,
we have yet another and then right after this, because Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones show up again, who we haven't seen since the Invisible Girl episode with Clea Duvall. They look the same.
All people in black suits look the same.
Yeah, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are back, and they whisk Willow away to a makeshift lounge that they've created.
This is so ridiculous. So we got the career fair. Everyone's got their tables.
Can you just take this?
Everyone's got their tables. We're like, hey, this is where the law enforcement is. This is where this is. This is this industry. And then somehow they've got like curtains and a velvet rope to create a VIP lounge for some software company at the high school career fair. For what and why and how?
That they need really smart kids for, but it's a secret.
The only point of this is to put her and Oz in a room together. But this episode fucks that up too, because for the fourth or fifth time they meet, but they don't say. It's beyond intriguing. Look, we've passed intriguing several exits ago. Now it's just annoying that they won't let them have any dialogue. To see if they have any chemistry.
Yeah.
To do much of anything.
Right.
They just, hey, they keep meeting and then we cut away instantly.
Right.
It's just annoying. And it's like, we've spent so little time. We know him because we know Austin Powers.
And it's not even building tension the way that they're doing with Cordelia and Xander.
Right.
Like we're not like anticipatory.
Yeah, it's just they keep running into each other. It's a gag that's outlived its use, and now it's just annoying. It's like, how about we write the scene where these two actually interact with each other and we see how fun and cute they are?
Right.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah. All right. So let's go somewhere else, shall we? Juffy is at the cemetery in the daytime, which threw us off. It was wild. We felt like we were in such a strange place seeing the cemetery in the daytime.
But such a smart idea because you're not going to run into vampires.
Exactly. Very smart. And so basically they're going there to be like, we need to figure out, unencumbered what Nerd Vamp was doing. And so they go into the mausoleum and they see that it's the mausoleum of some guy whose last name was Dulac. That's when Giles realizes that the book that was stolen was also written by some guy named Dulac. And it's an archaic Latin sect that had its own Latin language or cipher or key or whatever. And it's not good that
I
something
need a key
was
to
stolen.
follow what you just said.
What the fuck? I don't. Maybe you give it a shot because
I was so checked out.
All right. Yeah, I was. Okay, so let me just skip to it. Basically, that book, you need a key to read it.
It's written in code.
It's written in code. The key was in this dude's crypt. Okay. Giles puts all that together and goes, oh, they're trying to read this book with the key, and that's not good because if the guy who made the key tried to destroy all of the other keys except for this one, then he must know that it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. You guys get the point.
But the other thing that was weird about this scene was it was a oneer, right? It was a tracking shot. It was a walk and talk. Now, when the walk and talks happen on the West Wing, everyone's like booking it and they're getting out a lot of information.
Yeah.
Giles is out of breath, but Buffy is walking at a saunter.
Or Eric pace.
If she was marching it down, if she was clomping around like she was in the library last episode, then I would understand him trying to keep up. But they're walking at just a very reasonable leisurely pace. And he's like, oh, slow down, Buffy. Oh, I can't catch my breath. And then the other thing that doing this whole scene in a one shot is we couldn't get any cuts. So all the gaps between everyone talking just hang in the air. And it rather than the oneer being filled with energy, it was just fucking flat and deflated and boring. And I'm just like, this whole thing, every time they had a chance to infuse a little life into this, they just said, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
And nothing about this worked. And this just moved along at such a slog.
All right. So if you guys are keeping track, they had about 60 minutes of material and had to spread it out over 2 episodes. Eric and I think we can get it down to 1 episode. So far, we've cut at least 10 minutes out of this episode.
But if they had just been your normal reverse shot, we could have tightened up all the gaps between them talking. We could have kept it interesting because it's not an especially it's not the Copa scene from Goodfellas. It's not like an interesting tracking shot where lots of stuff is expertly timed. It's just a cameraman walking backwards with an assistant making sure he doesn't trip. Right. And there's nothing in the scenery that's particularly interesting. Yeah. It was just, it felt like they ran out of time to shoot this. They're like, all right, we're going to grab this in one camera angle and move on. And as a result, it was just kind of flat. Yeah.
Some scary biker dude with one eye gets off a bus. The end. Then we have nerdy briefcase guy walking up to someone's door.
This was even confusing because he walks past Buffy's house.
Yeah.
And then later he appears to be across the street from her, but we don't ever see this. So spatially, I wasn't able to track what the fuck was happening here either.
So this guy gets into this neighbor's house, a neighbor of Buffy, by saying, I'm not here to sell anything. I just have free makeup samples. And so he's let in by this woman and she closes the door and then we immediately hear a scream.
Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead. We're gonna spoil because we're just talking about his whole story right now.
Sure.
I know we usually go in scene order, but so this guy
is part of the Order of Taraka.
Yeah, pretends to be an Avon lady, goes in, kills Buffy's neighbor so he can spy on Buffy's house. We learn later that he can turn himself into worms. This is all unnecessary. Turn himself into worms.
Just go be a worm at her
climb
house.
under the door, wait for her to come home and reconstitute and kill her there.
And we've cut.
Yeah, why are we camping out
scene.
across the street? Why the ruse of I'm the Ava? Because he's not a vampire. He doesn't need to be invited in. He can just worm his way, literally worm his way in.
Man, we are red penning this episode. Hire us.
Because it's not even particularly interesting. And then we also, like, we save budget. We don't have to hire this neighbor lady.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to do 3 scenes, what we could do in 5 seconds of screen time.
Exactly. So far, we have 2 members of the Order of Taraka. And again, we're going to get to the lore of the Order of Taraka in a little bit. But we then go to an airplane undercarriage. Is that what they're called, by the way? Because all I think of when I say undercarriage is Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids.
You feel that steam heat coming? That's from my undercarriage.
Okay.
And someone is in there. The undercarriage worker, I don't know what they do.
Bag handler.
Bag
He's there
handler.
To get
Yeah, he's like, do I
Which
hear
actually
someone?
sounds like it's, again, talking about the undercarriage. You guys are going to be a bag handler.
Yeah, exactly. He's kicked in the face by a gorgeous, absolutely stunning model who is done up from her belly button up, and then from her belly button down, she is in pajama pants. Full pajama pants. Full.
These really bugged you.
They really bugged me. For so many reasons. 1, they look like pajama pants. 2, that material wrinkles immediately right at where your hips crease. They create a wrinkle immediately. Thirdly, that material has no stretch to it. You can literally rip that material at the seam simply by repositioning yourself in bed. They have no give, no stretch at all. Guess what I wouldn't wear if I had to kick people in the face? Those pants. Those pants. I hate those pants. And then there are some other reasons why I hate those pants that come up later. I just continuously hate those pants. And I remember those pants from the other times that I've watched this episode. And the only thing I remembered about that character was her terrible accent and those pants. You did nothing for this actress. Nothing. Nothing. It was awful. What you did to this actress is a crime.
And so I think first of all, bravo.
Thank you.
It's so refreshing to hear you be the negative one.
This actress was done so fucking dirty. I'm furious.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to imagine she's another Order of Taraka, but it's also like it's not clear. This is sort of like when we did Teacher's Pet, where there was like a guy with 4 hands and the praying mantis, and there was the opportunity for some like misdirection, but the script doesn't really take it on. I feel like we clearly don't know this is Kendra the Vampire Slayer first time watching. I feel like they could have leaned into that misdirection and let that reveal happen. And it kind of feels like they took it for granted in a way that when it finally hit, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Next scene, I'm just going to read to you verbatim what I wrote in my notes. Okay. Back in the library. Some cross allows them to decode it. I don't know. I don't quite get what's happening. Buffy says she's got to go. Not good with the book learning. Willow gets Giles to let her leave. That's
yeah. But also, Buffy's like, you guys are the brains, including Xander in there.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, earlier in the episode, Xander talks about how he'll always be stupid.
Right.
So, like, which is it? Pick a lane show. Is Xander stupid, or is Xander good at the book learning?
Also, within this universe, it is perfectly reasonable for the other, if we're going to be a team, if we're going to be a Scooby team, if Buffy is not going to be an island to herself, then yes, let's delegate some responsibility. How about we let the person who has superpowers and will be solely responsible for murdering and fighting these demons, why don't we let her go take a nap while y'all read some books? And
I think that is sort of Buffy's and Willow's point. Now, we know it's to cover for her ice skating date.
Sure.
But I was really bumped by Xander is important to the research because he's brilliant with the books, or he's a big fucking idiot. And
right.
The show doesn't know.
Right. Yeah. Let's go ice skating. Did you know that I ice skated for a little bit of my life? And I could actually like skate backwards and spin around and stuff sometimes.
You like trained for it? Like you
took some classes. Yeah, I went to
I
lessons.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I dated a girl in high school.
Who is it? I'll kill her.
Well, we're not going to reveal any names, but we flirted and dated a little bit in junior high, and then we reconnected in high school. Didn't really date. Maybe we just were hookup buddies.
Sure.
Whenever she was in town, but she was like serious contender for, like, she dropped out of high school to move to Minnesota to train with a coach because she had aspirations of being in the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And then ultimately didn't make that cut. So like her entire life was spent on this thing and it never happened. And then you're a failure at 18 years old. Like I can't imagine.
Career fair vibes.
Career fair vibes.
Wow. All right. Well,
so tell me about your ice skating. So you and I, we've been together 16 years. We've never gone ice skating. I feel like my ankles just break immediately if I try to ice skate.
You know why? Ice skating is not like riding a bike or swimming. Honestly, the muscles, because I did, I stopped ice skating, and then a few years later, maybe 10 years later, I went ice skating again to be like, oh, I know how to ice skate. Like I can pick this back up. The muscles in your shins specifically, I don't have them anymore. And it gave me like immediate shin splints. Yeah. Like, I don't think I realized that you just don't use that particular muscle. So it was very painful when I was older. So that's kind of why
and I never had those muscles. The couple times I've tried to go, like I said, my feet just turn 270 degrees in opposite directions upon touching ice.
Sure. And
then I just have to go sit down.
I have to go sit down. Okay, so let's go ice skating. I had some issues with this within the world as well. Angel invites Buffy on a date to an ice rink that is closed on Tuesdays. This tells me that he has to break into the ice rink at nighttime because he's a vampire, right, and take Buffy on this date. However, we open the scene with Buffy ice skating by herself. Where the fuck is Angel?
Well, maybe she got there early. She wanted to warm up. Maybe she wanted to like impress him. Like she wanted to kind of get her, yayas out before he got there so that he could, maybe she wanted to create the scene where he would walk in and see her just like gliding around the ice.
Okay.
And like let that image be in his head for his spank bank later.
Reluctantly sustained. So she's skating, doing sweet little moves. She then tries to do a sit, move, stick your
like
leg
a
out.
Squat.
Yeah, but falls on her butt and bumps into the wall, and One-Eyed Willie comes and strangles her.
Even this was awkward.
Who was the guy? So One-Eyed Willie is the guy who got off the bus.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, dressed like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Sure.
He's a very distinctive looking guy. But even this was shot awkwardly. Like it wasn't clear what happened. She later she's holding her knee, so we're supposed to believe like maybe her knee went out during this. But even the fights in this are pretty lackluster. Like we just see his arm grab her. It's not very exciting. And then
though we did get my favorite move in this. So Angel shows up later, saves her, blah, blah, blah.
But even that fight is just two guys like punching each other, shot from the waist up. Like it's not, we've seen some really fucking cool fights and this was not it.
Yeah. But she has a cool move in this one, which we'll talk about later.
One of the few bright spots.
Yeah.
Although I do have an issue with it. We'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. Again,
Surprise,
I'm just going to read my notes for this next scene verbatim. Back in the lair with Sprue. The end. Back at the rink, Angel is examining the body and he sees that the body is wearing a ring with a symbol on it that he recognizes. And he goes, oh shit, Order of Taraka. And he's like, Buffy, you got to get out of here. He's being very curt with her and basically just telling her like to run pretty much. And
I think it's weird that an elite society of assassins wears like a very distinctive ring.
Right.
Like everybody's supposed to just wear shirts that say assassin.
Yeah, Order of Taraka on it. But Angel has a cut on his brow, on his bumpy brow, important to remember. And he's very business. He's trying to get Buffy to get out of here. And Buffy's like, you're cut. And he kind of keeps pulling away from her. And she's like, what is your deal, dude? And he says, you shouldn't have to touch me like this. I liked this moment. This was a sweet moment. She takes her glove off, intentionally touches his cut, and says, I didn't even notice.
I loved this too. I was very excited for the Beauty and the Beast of it all. However, I'm confused of the mechanics of when he goes bumpy and he's not in control of being bumpy or not. Like, couldn't he just go, fight's over, and back to being David Boreanaz.
I agree with you. Here's the work I would do as the actor to justify why I'm still in bumpy face. He is clearly very much still in like protect.
He's like revved up.
He's revved up.
Yeah.
So and he's trying to get Buffy to get out of it. He's got a clock going. And so I think it's adrenaline based.
Okay.
And so if his adrenaline is still spiked.
He's not 100% in control of it.
Yes.
Also, I mean, story-wise, they need him to be bumpy face when Kendra shows up.
Right. And so
it feels like they reverse engineered this really cool Beauty and the Beast moment, because what they ultimately needed to do was Kendra to show up and see him.
You know, it would have been more fun. Okay. So, spoiler alert, old Pajama Pants has to show up and see that Buffy the Slayer is girlfriends with a vampire.
She doesn't seem to know that that's the Slayer, though.
I guess, no, she doesn't know.
Which is another issue I have. We'll get into it.
Sure. How much cooler would it have been if she sees this fight happening? So she sees that Buffy is the Slayer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's Biker Dude, and then there's Angel, the vampire, who she recognizes because we learn later that she studied Angelus. Like, she knows who Angelus is. So she sees this fight happening. All of it makes sense to her, right? The Slayer is fighting this demon. Then she sees the Slayer defend the vampire and like protect him or whatever, and then maybe help him up off the ice, and that would justify why he's still immediately bumpy faced. She then sees that that's the Slayer protecting a vampire. I think that's a lot more interesting and gets us to the point a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, I like that. I think that they don't want Kendra to know Buffy is the Slayer.
Okay.
What I think, because when they when she confronts Angel in the cage, like, your girlfriend, I got to find the girl.
Right.
I should not do the voice. I should not do the accent.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
But like, I think she just knows. Oh, this girl is an associate of Angelus, who's a bad guy. So she must be a bad guy.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So I don't think that she knows that Buffy's the Slayer.
Good call.
We'll just get into it now. I'm jumping all over the place with this one. But Giles is still doing Watcher work. Buffy's still actively engaged in slaying.
Mm-hmm.
She did technically die for a minute, which created Kendra's activation.
Mm-hmm.
Giles is presumably still reporting to the council about the goings-on at the Hellmouth.
Mm-hmm.
He says he knows the name by reputation of Kendra's Watcher. But the council doesn't inform Kendra's Watcher and Kendra that, well, she died and you're alive, but there is another Slayer. So when you go there, you're going to meet another Slayer. It's not how it's supposed to work. Giles has not been told, hey, when Buffy died, we activated another Slayer. If the excuse is the Watchers Council is really secretive and really manipulative, they don't make a story point out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have Giles react to the news that there's a new Slayer with, what the fuck? How come no one told me about this?
Oh, I like that.
It just doesn't.
Which also sets us up for Giles' relationship with the Watchers Council later in the series.
Yeah, we sow the seeds of him beginning to mistrust them, to not just be the loyal soldier who takes his orders.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a missed opportunity. How have they not communicated? And if the point is they don't communicate because it's a need to know basis, then Giles needs to have some, and Buffy would definitely have her actually, there's another fucking Slayer and nobody told me.
Yeah.
How did they not really react to
especially in the episode where she's like, I don't want to be a Slayer.
Right.
This would be great. I did my time. I died. I'm out. There's another Slayer.
Yeah,
bye. I'm going to go shopping.
She and Willow, and I forget if it happens in this episode or part 2, she and Willow have a brief conversation about that, but none of it is got any fire to it. It's just like, maybe I don't have to be the Slayer.
Yeah.
Like, it's this whole thing just, they knew the beats. They didn't appreciate how human beings in these situations would actually react to things based on what we already know about those characters.
Right. Okay, so we also get some information about the Order of Taraka that justifies why each one of these assassins is kind of lame on its own and easily defeatable.
Jesus Christ, that guy was It reminded me of the movie Desperado, where he's like, I got to bring in my 2 friends, but they're going to destroy this town. So he calls in these 2 friends that we think are going to be awesome. And then they're killed in like the first 60 seconds.
Yeah.
They're kind of like that. It's like, we got to call in the big guns, these super lame, easy to kill guys, but there's a jillion of them.
Yeah. So the reason that they end up scaring Buffy, which they do, is because Giles explains that they're infinite. So they are a threat to Buffy purely because there are too many of them and they will never stop coming. She will never not be having to look over her shoulder and wondering if this barista at Starbucks is part of the Order of Taraka.
Spoiler alert. We finished part 2, and then, to the best of my knowledge, they stop coming. She has to fight like 4 of them, and then they stop coming.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is bullshit.
So, but then we have a moment where like Buffy is walking through the school hallway, just kind of like, you know, anybody could be the Order of Taraka. And Oz then comes up behind her and she ends up shoving him up against the wall. And despite everything, Oz does end up having what I deemed my favorite line. And I'll tell you why when we do our superlatives. So Buffy is now walking home at night alone. And I also wrote, if you're that worried about her, why isn't somebody walking with her?
Right.
Like, why isn't Angel walking with her?
There are a ceaseless horde of assassins that want to kill you and will stop at nothing to bring about your demise.
Yeah, but nobody can give Buffy a ride home? Like, what the fuck? So, and she ends up walking past her house. I can't remember why that happens, but she does.
So weirdly, so again, I'm like, what's the mechanism here? Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds knew her by sight. Like, otherwise he would have no reason to know the Slayer was at the ice rink.
Right.
So he knows what she looks like. The neighbor worm man across the street
knows
with
where
his
she
binoculars, knows where she lives, but doesn't appear to know what she looks like.
Right.
Because she walks past her house. He should go like, hey, she didn't go inside, but that's her.
Right.
So
yeah, and also this is where we see that the briefcase nerd is made of maggots.
Yeah, we see that.
And it's so gross, really gross.
It's
even though
it's
a terrible effect, the CGI is terrible, but it still really ugged me out a lot. Wiles is in the library. They're still trying to do a bunch of research. Xander comes in and he's like, I don't know where Buffy is. She didn't answer her phone. He then gets a line that I took issue with, and though it is true, it bothered me. He says, it's physically impossible for a 16-year-old girl to unplug the phone. This should have been Giles's line. This is not something that a 16-year-old like, it's an observation that is too removed from being 16.
It's generational in nature.
Exactly. Buffy walked past her house because she decides to break into Angel's cement apartment. That's where she feels safest. He's not there, but she lays down in bed, sad and scared and tired. I mean, this is also where I actually just kind of got this. Like, she doesn't really want to be a Slayer. She wants to go shopping. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Like, she's 16.
She says, she literally says that.
And this is exhausting. Like, she just got told that like infinite assassins are never going to stop coming after her, and she's never going to know who they are, and they're just going to, that's exhausting. That's a bummer. Angel isn't at home because he's going to the demon bar. And we meet a character that we're going to see a lot, Willie. Angel needs information. Willie's always got it because he is the bartender for all of the demons. So he gets to list. That would be a fun job.
Yeah.
A really fun job.
How do you have to answer the question about shrubs to wind up with that?
No shrubs. I think you would have to say no shrubs.
Right.
I don't see a ton of shrubs being part of your
relevant
life.
To this job.
Yeah. Willie tries to say that he doesn't know anything. Angel knows better.
I'm taking up sunbathing.
And this guy, I will say, is a bright spot in the episode. He's a real character, but he's one of the only people in this entire episode that seems to have a little life in him.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Viv
and verve. And Vim and vinegar, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like
Vim, verve, Viv, and vigor.
Hey, Angel, you know I always do right by you. Like he's
his accent.
Spot on.
He
You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. Hey, we get along. I love this dude.
So Angel gets him to admit that it was Spike that called the Order of Taraka, and then Angel is hit by a pool cue, and we see that it is from Pajama Pants Model Girl, and she manages to lock him in a cage at the bar.
Right.
I guess it's maybe where they keep the kegs and shit. And the sun is going to come in through the window and eventually hit him, so he's going to have to, which I think that's a scene in some other vampire thing where somebody's in a well.
That's in Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire, yeah.
Yeah. And similar to what they do to the annoying one earlier this season.
Yes.
The timeline is all over the fucking place in this.
Over the place. Please acknowledge that we are waiting for the sunrise.
Hey, she says, I got to resist the urge to try and do
I know.
the accent. The sun will be up in a few hours, and that's going to cook you alive. That's going to give me more than enough time to find your girlfriend.
Yeah, I think it's actually, she says girlfriend. And
we're not doing that.
I have to talk about the accent. I don't blame this actress. Her accent is terrible. It's very bad. It's not good. It takes you out of what could be a really cool character.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't blame the actress for her stupid Slayer pants that a Slayer would never wear. I also don't blame her for being bad at this accent. Here's the thing. That is the casting director and showrunner's job to go, you know what? If we want this actress to play this role, unfortunately, we've got to fix this accent situation. She either has to not be where she clearly is from.
Jamaican, I think.
Or we have to, what accents can you do? Can we do, because it doesn't really matter that she's from Jamaica. Like it's not relevant to the story.
There are a couple beats of different culture.
Sure.
With regard to work.
Sure.
With regard to duty, with regard to how you interact with boys.
But this was embarrassing for this actress, and it wasn't fair because she can't do this accent. Mm-hmm. I would love to be able to do an Irish accent. I can't.
Let's hear it. Let's hear you.
No. Give me a
top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Like, I sound like the Lucky Charms guy.
She kind of sounds like the Lucky Charms guy.
It's really bad. And so it made this character disliked in the universe of Buffy, and this could have been a really cool character. It's also one of the very few Black characters that we have in this show, and they made her unserious. And it really, really, really bothers me, and has bothered me since the first time I saw this episode.
They could have just made her an army brat.
100.
You grew up in Jamaica, still all the cultural shit. Xander, well, you don't sound Jamaican.
Right.
And she could say, yeah, I grew up on an army base or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck. Like,
Right.
there's a way
Anything.
around it.
Yeah.
And then she just gets to be cool Bianca Lawson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. It's distractingly bad.
Yeah. Back with Giles in the library, and this is where the timeline gets real messed up. He calls Xander and says, have Cordelia drive you to Buffy's house to see if she's there. He then wakes up Willow, who's fallen asleep doing all the research.
Don't warn the tadpoles.
And we learn that Willow has frog fear, which I also took umbrage with.
It feels like she would be pro frog.
It feels like Willow would be like a frog advocate. Like, she would love frogs and stand up for them at any turn. You know what I'm saying? So we found a description of the Duloc manuscript. It's to restore a weak and sick vampire back to full health. Willow says, like Drusilla.
Where did they learn that Drusilla is sickly?
I don't know.
It's not, they've only seen a photograph of her. Buffy's the only one that's seen her in person, right?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
She's in a nightgown, but it's not necessarily clear that she's
You're completely right.
Health.
Completely right. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess they watched the previous episodes.
Now we go to Zordy. Cordelia did go and pick up Xander to go check on Buffy. Xander has a locker room joke, which sucks. And they're trying to get into Buffy's house. Xander breaks in. Cordy, comes in the door, and then knock, knock, knock. We see a familiar Maggotman come to the door to entice Cordelia with free makeup sample. peoples. Okay. Cordy's kryptonite. So I want you to remember that 'tis daytime right now.
Right.
Full
Yeah,
day.
it's not dawn. It's not everything's bathed in pink light
Right.
as the sun is starting to creep up over the horizon.
Back with Angel, where allegedly the sun is rising because Kendra says eastern exposure, which would suggest that the sun only is going to come through that window as the sun rises in the east.
Now, it is a kind of a near the ceiling, so you're not going to get 6 a.m. sun there, but it's still going to be morning.
Right.
And we cut around. Yeah, it's just really hard
It's
to
a
track what's
mess.
happening simultaneously.
Yes. So he's trying to get out of the sunshine through the window. Buffy wakes up in Angel's apartment by an axe at her head from Pajama Pants model Slayer. They have a fight. Buffy has another quip, which again, they are just trying to pad this script because she has like a very long sentence quip where I'm just like, as Kendra, she probably had to wait with the axe up in the air like this for Buffy to get this sentence out, which is,
Thanks for the wake up, but I'll stick with my clock radio.
Yeah, no, it was forced and it was weird. There's also a strange thing that happens here where Kendra swings the axe and Buffy catches it and they play a punch sound effect.
do they?
It's so dumb.
Okay, so standoff, two Slayers. This is where Buffy learns that Kendra is also a vampire slayer. Huh? She says to be continued. Good God almighty. Are you ready for superlatives?
Yes. Sunnydale High Yearbook Committee meeting now in session. What did you have for best line?
Best line was from Oz because I thought it was such a simple line and you really see how charismatic Oz is and Seth Green. He really, I think, asserts his character in this moment, and I really liked it. So Buffy slams him up against a wall by his throat. He remains very calm. She relinquishes and apologizes, and he says as she walks away,
He's a tense person.
I just thought it was so well delivered.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
within character. I loved it.
That was
Yeah.
good. I took the lazy way out. I didn't think there was any line worth noting.
Oh,
I did
okay.
laugh at that. And now that you pointed it out, but yeah, I just didn't think anything rose. I think everything was the same level of mediocre to bad in this. And I didn't want to award any points.
Okay. Well, there you go.
What'd you have for worst line?
Worst line. I had thanks for the wake up, but I'll stick with my clock radio. It was too long.
Yeah. As we used to say, is a long walk for a tiny drink of water.
Tiny drink of water. Yeah.
I cut all the shrub talk. Because
you can cut the shrub talk if you at least tell me if you're pro or anti shrub.
I'm very pro shrub.
Okay.
I don't have anything against shrubs. It feels like I don't believe that would be on a career fair questionnaire.
Yeah.
Also, it felt so much like
nobody's ever asked me if I'm pro shrub.
Oh, are you pro shrub?
Of course.
But how does it feel to be asked? Finally,
really good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just also felt like it didn't make sense that it would be on the questionnaire, and it really struck of the writers like trying so hard to be quirky that it just felt like
it feels like somebody had just watched Monty Python.
Is there anywhere in this town where we could buy a shrubbery?
Oh, that could be. Yeah, but just none of it worked. All right. Who'd you have for best dressed?
Best dressed, I had very simple outfit, but I want to wear it. Buffy's army green slacks, just a really nice flat front slack, dicky sort of cut with a simple gray tank and a green flannel, oversized. Loved it. And I would wear it.
I think we picked the same thing because I wrote it as Buffy in Angel's dad's flannel.
Yeah.
Because she's swimming in this.
Yeah.
But she looked really cute. She looked cute as shit. But like we already know Angel's shirts are too big for him.
Right.
They're way too big for her.
Yeah.
I don't even know that this is Angel's shirt. I can't imagine where else she got it. But it looks like it
she could have bought an oversized. I would have bought an oversized flannel.
You go to the Big and Tall to buy yourself some clothes. Who'd you have for worst dressed?
I think you know who I had for worst dressed. And again, I blame the costume department, not Kendra.
There is a scene for my worst dress. It's a 1-2 punch. It's a tie, but it's in the same shot.
Okay.
So there's a scene we talked about in the watch along where it looks like Willow and Buffy raided Joyce's closet, where Willow looks like a ceramics teacher and Buffy looks like a recent divorcee who's trying to convince herself she's still eligible on the dating market.
Yeah.
And neither one of them was dressed like a teenager.
No, it didn't work.
What'd you have for best move?
Best move was when Buffy slits One-Eyed Willie's throat with her ice skate. Very creative, resourceful, very Buffy.
I liked it. I thought it was not shot very exciting. I thought the fights in general in this were pretty lame.
Agreed.
Also, you can't cut a guy's throat and not have
So much blood
spill out all over the ice. You know, for
but
TV,
you know what?
Whatever.
Demon rules.
Demon rules.
This guy doesn't have any blood. That's the thing.
I guess. Finally, what did you have for most likely?
Most likely to get immediately made as a spy based solely on her accent, Kendra.
Pajama pants.
I know. Again, it is not her fault.
Right. She should have been asked to
Never.
do that. I had most likely to open for Debase the Beef Canoe at the Bronze. Don't warn the tadpoles.
That was a good one. Hey, way to end on a note. Love it.
All right, and that's all we've got for you today. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure to check out our other show, Kim and Ket Stay Alive Maybe, co-starring her and the hilarious Kim Burns, produced by me. Comes out every Wednesday on social media at KK Sam Podcast. This show is on social media at Major Slayage Pod. We'll see you next Monday for part 2. And until then, dust you later.